Hello everyone, I am Malaceo. Welcome back to my channel. So today, got my little iPad, but today I will be talking about solo travel in Japan, what's it really like as a Black woman. So I like to say on this preface that I'm taller, I'm more on the slimmer side, I have more of an athletic build. I like to mention that, my hair is natural, I have locks. I'm just telling you, because let's be honest, even being in the Black community, we're approached by different men based on our hairstyle, okay? So I feel like I am mentioning a bunch of things to let you guys know, this is what I'm doing, this is my vibe of me walking around and being around. Mostly wearing all black. I do have a yellow crossbody bag, this, same color as this. Nails usually are a bright color. I had shades and they have the round things or whatever. So what I'm wearing, and I need to, like I said, a lot of people think that all of Japan dresses like Shinjuku and Harajuku, but it doesn't in Shibuya, and it's not like that for the entire rest of the city. It's very muted colors. So me wearing black all the time, all day, every day, don't judge me. It's easy for me to throw all my clothes in one load and wash them and dry them because I'm on the go. I slow travel. Also, if you don't know that about me, I do slow travel. I'm going to be traveling for the next couple of years. Probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. Sorry. And as of now, I've been traveling for 7 months. So spent 3 months in Japan. I went on a little bit of sabbatical. I wasn't really working while I was there. I did recording, which other people will be like, yeah, you were working if you're recording, so you could make content, but still. I just want to put all of the things that's off the top of my head and putting this in there to be hey, because I do feel like there could be a sexualization or whatever, but for certain body types, but me being a little bit more slimmer, and then me having I'll be honest, they thought that I was mixed with something essentially. So also just longer legs, I feel like they really, really, really like legs. And then it's if you got some butt, that's good. Some butt and titties, oh, okay, that's good. But yeah. But then it's too much. It's they're not gonna say that I'm not saying they're gonna look away, but they're gonna be I don't know if I can handle that. So they'll probably be that's what I've noticed, okay? I'm just saying. It's not they don't it's it turns into a internal thing. And that's another thing I want to let Black women know. This whole does blah blah blah, this and the other. Girl, live your life. And if you see somebody, just be because I went on this another person's live, and that's the reason why I'm bringing it up. And no matter what I felt I was talking about, I'm traveling the world, and my freedom, and my new life, and all this stuff, and community, and other women, and blah blah blah. And people was but what about the So I'm gonna give a little bit of a rundown. If you want a more detailed video, then yes, I will give you a more detailed video. But the stuff that people say, I don't think it's necessarily that. I don't think it's that bad. I don't feel like it's that bad. But I can go into way more detail. But like I said, it's not just the being attractive or not attractive or whatever in another culture. It's also assuming how people are going to perceive you. So that's why I'm telling you guys what I was wearing. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm not saying, I'm just giving you facts. Okay? the shortest shorts that I wore were like biker shorts, and they're like halfway down my thigh. They were tight. They're biker shorts. There was a lot of looks at my legs. That's why I'm like, like legs? I'm like, girl, I am not voluptuous by any means necessary, okay? Okay? I know me. I'm not gonna sit here. There's a limit to my delusional, okay? Okay? So, but overall, I would say, even between Tokyo and Osaka, by the locals, by Japanese people, I don't feel like I was treated, and I'm also 5'9". I don't feel like I was necessarily treated bad by anybody. I might have, even like avoiding people and not sitting by people on the train, that didn't happen to me. Like, but there were mostly men that did sit beside me. I think it was only a few times where women sat beside me. Like it was like this one time, it was like a seat open and a lady grabbed the thing in front of me, like she's still standing, but then a guy like came around and he like ended up sitting beside me. So culturally, I can't sit there and give you the layers of what that was. I'm just telling you what I've noticed. It's like literally like 9, maybe 8 times out of the 10, if it wasn't a woman already sitting down and then I sit down, it was a guy that came and sat down beside me. Like somebody who actually, empty seat, come and sit beside me. Mostly men. And the only reason I was conscious about that is because of the stuff that they said about groping and stuff like that. Just being honest. Don't shoot the messenger. So, like I said, I really didn't face that type of stuff. But it could also be because I'm a woman, or maybe it's like, I don't know. It's not for me to decipher. I'm just telling you my experience. So even with that, I've also noticed that it was only a few times where I took like people off guard, like if I'm in a grocery store or something like that, or like close quarters, and they're just not expecting a big black, like, or I guess like this one lady at a 7-Eleven is she walked around the corner and I'm walking around, like, you know, we're passing each other, but she's probably like, Godzilla, oh my God. But it's just the look on her face was like, oh shit. So, you know, maybe like that. It's just, I think it's just I just caught her off guard. But I can't be mad at that, because sometimes when there's a really big man or a tall man that like walks past me and he's like really close, and it just sort of like, oh. Like, you know, so I don't take any offense to it or anything like that. But yeah. So also, I feel like the people was very helpful. I don't feel like I didn't face like any discrimination. There was more patient with me and stuff like that. But I do think like it's important that I say, you know, me being a woman and then also me being by myself in all of these places, I'm not saying that it would or would not happen, but I just feel like I was helped a lot if I looked like I was lost. And the women, I had to ask, like, hey, can you help me? Versus the men, if like I notice if I'm looking around a little bit, the men be like, oh, let me help you or whatever, or like let me translate, be like, do you need help? So like I said, I think it's also like the opposite sex type of thing. Like I feel like another man may not want to help another man. I'm not saying that another man wouldn't, but let's be honest, like people tend to be a little bit nicer to whatever sex they're attracted to. Like, I'm just being honest. And I think that's a big part of it, and something that people should think about when you're watching people talk about like, oh, they don't want to sit beside foreigners, or they don't blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. Like, yeah, they probably don't want to sit by foreigners, but it's like, maybe you'd be like, oh, that person might be a little bit assimilated, or she might be a little bit of something, or she might be, oh, I think she might be attractive, or oh, he may be attractive, like as a woman to a man or something like that. I'm like, it's just like a snap decision. Okay, so like I said, I'm just saying my experiences. I'm trying to do certain things, but I'm just like, I can't fully answer for people, and I can't answer for everybody's experience. I can just say for me, and like I said, by myself. So also another thing I would sort of think, I'm like, I don't know if they could tell that I was American or not. I'm pretty sure they could, because some places I walked in, they was playing either R&B or they would play hip hop. There was a lot of SZA and Kendrick that would be playing when I walk into like any type of little, like that Krispy Kreme. I appreciate it, but I see what you're doing. So it's like, I think it's also like your perceived nationality too. That's also another thing I think to add on to it. Because I feel like it's not that simple. It's never really that simple. And I'm trying to put all these factors in to sort of help people. I don't want you guys to feel like, oh my God, like what if I'm not this? I'm not going to have her experience. It's not for you to have my experience, because I could have had a bad experience. You know, but even if one person don't sit beside you, or you're like hyper focused on certain things, like, you know, I think I would appreciate it if, you know, you didn't sit that close to me, you know. But some people be like, oh, well, I want you to sit beside me, because why are you getting up and walking away from me? You know, it just depends. It just depends. It really does. So, I'm trying my best to try to make this positive, but I'm telling the truth. It just depends on how you guys take it as individuals, to be honest. But also like doing stuff like ordering food, just overall people were more patient with me, you know, making eye contact, thank you. I feel like also some people, when they knew or they would hear you speak English, like if I was on the phone and stuff, he would sort of like turn and stuff, or at restaurants, if I'm like ordering and stuff like that, and be like, oh, I speak English, like, you know, they want to, I believe they want to practice and stuff like that. I went to this one Starbucks like a couple of times. Don't even say no, okay? Because I was so tired by the end. I'm like, I'm not trying to find no other place to be. I'm just trying to sit down and just do a little bit of a walk. So don't even try to come at me. But the little barista girl, she was like, oh, do you live here now? I was like, no, I'm just here for a long time. She's like, oh, you do business here? I was like, no, I'm just here for a sabbatical. She's like, huh? Vacation. She's like, you've been here for like 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, but she's like, oh, so like, I think, you know, they just want to speak and stuff. And I think also, now that it's coming to me, she was way more open to speaking with me because she's seen me a couple of times also. Like, especially in Tokyo, it's a bunch of it. And people going to work, people go pick up their kids, people doing this, people doing that, people doing all of the things. And especially if it's not necessarily your culture to have small talk. And then also the high possibility of not knowing each other's languages, or feeling like you don't know each other, both foreigners and Japanese. On average, don't know each other's language between, and I'm speaking for me, like English and Japanese. Either one, coming in, especially a foreigner coming in and you're there for vacation, you're not going to be speaking Japanese that well. To the point where you're kidding, you get the jokes, the cultural stuff, all that stuff. You're not. So I think it's also taking yourself out of it and putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. But then understanding the culture. And it's like I said, you're especially in Tokyo, like, but Osaka, oh, like the head nod, and it'd be like, oh, like they'll try to like have like a little conversation with you. This lady let me pet her dog and stuff. Like Osaka's a vibe, honey. Osaka is a vibe. English or like language, 0. Vibe, 100. Like that's what I'm saying. But it's also, I'm talking about Japan as a whole. So I'm gonna, give you the tit for tat. But I feel like I was very well received. Like I went to a lot of museums and I felt like I was very well received. Like everybody was just like, oh my God, like what? And I also noticed like for a lot of them, like I was like the only one, like the only foreigner there. And I get it, like if you're taking vacations and stuff like that. And then also you're probably working, but it's just, I thought that was like amusing or it was cute. And I was like, oh, okay. I feel cool. Got my little shades and stuff and like all fancy and stuff with my all black and like my little accents and stuff. Be like, hey y'all. And they'd be like, oh, do you want to do this? And they have this and they have that and you can learn this and learn this. Once again, it could be also trying to practice your English, but it is what it is. So overall, I can say that I did not feel disrespected. I did not feel like ostracized. I did get approached by men a few times. And I got approached from men from different ages, which I was surprised. I thought it would be people more my age, if not younger, that would want to approach me. Half of them, and that's when I learned about the sugar daddy thing. But I think once again, it's because I was staying in places and walking by and stuff. I was doing a lot of walking. So probably seeing me or whatever. Cause this one guy, it wasn't a bad interaction, but like I was already on the phone and watching like the river and stuff, and he comes and he's like, he was like speaking Japanese, and like the voice was voicing though, but like when they be speaking, it's like the voice is dirty, verse. The voice is dirty, verse. I was like, oh! I was like, hold on, Fred. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm on a phone call. And I'm like looking at like his hands and stuff, but I'm like, I'm thinking, I'm like, do they wear rings like that? Do they not wear rings like that? But I'm like, nah, you give, oh, I got some things on the side, because the watch he was wearing, the watch was watching, and I'm like, nah, cuz you ain't doing that with me. Like, nah, my intuitions, my man intuition was like, he got the money, girl. He'll provide, but he thinks that you just gonna be, I don't know, some fling or something like that. And it's like, oh, I can speak English. He's like, oh, this, that, and the other, and this is like where I live, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, sorry, I'm on the phone. And he dismissed himself. All the men were not aggressive when I was like, no, I'm not. I'm here for a short time, not a good time. Not like that. Not like that. But I was a little bit shocked at I thought they didn't approach us. I thought they didn't approach us. Because in the black community, people can be like, oh, you look like you a little bit something. You might be a little something. But I'm black. Y'all know I'm black. all the others are gonna look at me. She black. She black. Look at her. She black. 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 Okay? There's no other way around it, honey. So my whole thing is, I thought they don't approach us. It was just one guy that, like, the whole situation I didn't really like, because I think he thought that I was going to be like his sugar mama. I can have a whole story about that if you want to hear it. But I think he thought that I was going to become some type of like sugar mama or something like that. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. No, thank you. No, ma'am. But he was fiending real bad. But like I said, I don't know if you think I'm going to, because I didn't know there was like such a thing. Like sugar daddy, sugar mama culture and stuff like that, or whatever. But that was the only one that was like, I mean, all of them I was like, but still, it was like the guys that was like in the middle, from like the older men at the river versus the young tyke I just mentioned. And the thing about it, ladies, I don't know if it's just a Southern thing. I've heard from people when I say this that it's a Southern thing. I don't know. You can say it in the comments if you like. But when I say, like, if they looking at you, right? Because this whole, like, yes, they were ones that were like shy. And I would test this theory out. I know it's girl, after having like a couple of little highballs and stuff, girl, I had the nerve. A couple of nights, I had the nerve not to do something, girl, child. But to test out my little theories, okay? So, you know, you're just walking, you know, perusing, you know, walking around. And okay, so imagine if this is like a guy, and I'm like, and you just do like a little, are you just like, depending on how big and dominant he is, like if he big, like I like him, I'll be like, you know, so it's like that, but I do it because of my stature. Because there's other guys that I wouldn't necessarily, you know, if they're too short, like, you know, but even guys that are around my same height, is more of a looking directly, like, and then they're the ones, especially if you catch them off guard, and they're like, and you just be like, that's it? Just not even that. But I'm just saying, just a little flirty. Just a little, nothing crazy. But yeah, because it's not even a real story, but it was like a guy at Shake Shack. I'm like, he has to be married. I'm not going to even look at him twice. There ain't no way. It is no way. But I'm like, I didn't like Tokyo like that. So I'm like, why even start something and I ain't going to finish it? Pun intended. So, yes. So with all of that, like I said, like, just engaging, you know, I'm not saying that I talked to a whole bunch of people all the time. I didn't. It was pretty quiet. There was a bunch of places you can go and be secluded and be by yourself. Like, yeah, people are gonna look. But from what I've noticed, I got almost like a crash course in the differences between like Asian cultures. Like the Chinese, they tend to like especially like after a certain age, they be like gawking. And they're just like, but if you be like, hey, or, you know, but once again, I'm a woman, you know, and whatever. So I feel like I really do feel like from what I've seen guys say versus what other women, or I mean, what other people have said. Cause I'm like, and then you just keep it moving. I've seen other videos when they just like flock around you and they're taking pictures and all that other stuff. Like, I haven't had that experience. But I think like with Japanese people, they don't necessarily want you to see them staring at you unless they're trying to engage with you. So there's like, cause like I said, like even when I was like, you know, around other women and stuff, cause like even like where I stayed at, a lot of the places was like, you know, like women only and stuff like that. So I did have time to like, or chances to engage with other like locals, but mostly it was like other tourists and stuff. But like, you know, it was fine. It was good. It was gravy. It was like a cute little moment. So I really don't feel like I was treated badly. I was treated any type of way. But like I said, like all the stuff that I mentioned at the beginning of the video could also have something to do with how individual people treated me, especially people who were at least in, you know, close enough proximity to me to be like, to sit next to me or not sit next to me, or pass me in a grocery store or not pass me in a grocery store. But as you can tell, I don't want to say I have a sense of humor like you don't, but it's just like, as long as you ain't touching me, you ain't like stopping me, you're not like following me around, you're not harassing me, like you're not trying to take my order, you're ignoring me, like I don't care how you look at me. I don't really care. Like I said, there was been other times that it caught me off guard, because I'm like, okay, yeah, people are gonna look at you because you're different, period. But and then coming over and talking to you, and like how they do it, and like they just, I'm gonna say that man is Shake Shack. That man is Shake Shack. We got to find him. Don't do that. But I don't know nothing about that man. To be honest, like he's in my head, but it'd be like, if you walk past me, I wouldn't know who that man was. Sorry to this man. But it's just like, oh, like, you know, like something, it catches you off guard. And it happened like a few times, especially men that were just taller, bigger than me. I'm not saying all of them, but every now and again, like there's millions of people out here, okay? And like I said, I was walking around a lot. I was out a lot, just in general. And it's like this, like, I'm gonna be in your like, not up in your space, like violating you, but like I'm gonna hover around. I'm gonna present my presence to you. I am going to sit down, but sit my chair over here. I'm looking at my phone, but the screen is still on all of the icons, and I'm doing this, but it's not moving. I'm not touching anything on my phone. I'm looking around like I'm lost and walking past 2 or 3 times, but then also sort of sit there and stuff like that. And yeah. So it's just situations like that. And then, you know, the people who straight out be like, hey, Japanese, English, what you want? I got it. Anyway, even with the translating app, it was like, I'm like, girl, ain't nobody trying to use a translating app. Like, even if I did want to go just to get jiggy with it, using Google Translate, I can barely speak English. Using Google Translate isn't gonna get me there, okay? It's not gonna get me there. So, yeah. So I just think that, just overall, Like, I didn't think that things was like too crazy or not too crazy, and it was a good time. But I would say, especially in Osaka, but there was a lot more I feel like that, well, not a lot more foreigners or tourists, but I feel like the tourists that was in Osaka was there for the World Expo, and I didn't really get a bad vibe from any of the other tourists that was there. And I do feel like it was because of the World Expo. The World Expo is to bring people together. It's like that whole vibe of like, oh, you know, like everybody's coming together, celebrating all the accomplishments of all these countries and this, that, and the other, and being cultural and blah, blah, blah. So I think people came to Osaka specifically with their minds open to be like, okay, I'm going to have this experience. I'm here. Like, they came there for knowledge, some type of different cultural experience to, you know, be in that. So I think that's another reason why maybe not the locals. The locals was like awesome. I feel like they would be like that at any time. But just like the other foreigners that was there, because it was such a big plethora because of the World Expo, like I didn't get that weird vibe from any of the other tourists and stuff in Osaka. I got like weird looks and stuff from people and stuff like that, like I didn't belong there or whatever. But and then it was like this one guy, he was also Asian, but I don't want to say the country because I don't want to be disparaging, but he was not Chinese, he was not Korean, he was not Japanese, he wasn't Southeast Asian, he was from another Asian country, okay? And he like did me like that, like some completely random man. And I'm like, who? I don't can come to you. So I don't know. He was like, oh. So I don't know if it was because I cussed him out. I don't know because it was the English. I don't know if because I got bucked with him. It's so fast. I don't know. But he was so sloppy. And this Japanese guy came up to me and he was like, I'm sorry, miss, like, you know, he probably thinks that you're one of the women that come here to do the night walking. And he's like, I know you don't look like that, but he's like, I'm just telling you what he is probably thinking. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I was like pleasant about it. I was like, thank you for letting me know and stuff like that. But even that, when I thought about it afterwards, I'm like, was he trying to like, cause like, it's not like, I mean, the guy just like left me alone. Like I kept on walking and then he kept on walking after he was flabbergasted. But even with that, it's like the being pleasant and stuff like that. Like, hey, like letting you know. But then I also seen, certain things. And if you wanted me to go into more detail about the stuff that I see at night, girl, just walking around, like, girl, that's why I had all my black on. I was the Dark Knight. And I like to people watch. I was the Dark Knight. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was all up in everybody's business, just scooting on by. We can talk about that if you want. So let me know. But yes, that is how I was treated in Japan as a whole. I feel like it was pretty much a good experience. I didn't feel like anything necessarily bad happened. I didn't feel like I was in danger. I didn't feel like I was insulted, but there was like some guy being a gas. Like that happens in the States all the time. It would have been worse actually. After me out. Like girl, I would have been like, what you want? Cause I got aggressive and I'm trying to let loose. Girl. But yes, so it wasn't, in my opinion, it was good, it was great. I didn't get followed around. If people come to help me if I ask for help, and everything was good, like very lenient, very nice, like even taking tidbits and stuff and sort of putting into like what other people was went through or not, at the end of the day, I just really think that you have to go and experience things for yourself. Because that's another thing. People's perceptions culturally, nationwide, but even individually, they change all the time. We are organic creatures. We change our opinion all the time. All the time. So, yes, go where you want to go as long as it's actually safe. Like being super scary or overthinking things and thinking that something's going to happen or not happen or whatever. Find a good in it. Find a good in it. Like, that's all you can do, right? Unless it's something like you're in imminent danger, then like, protect yourself. But yeah, I don't have nothing necessarily, in my opinion, bad to say about any type of the isms, to be honest. So hey, let me know if you guys been to Japan. What were your experiences? How were you treated? How did you feel there? All the things. If you have any specific questions or anything that you want me to elaborate with further, I can do that. Just put it in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I'll let you know if I'm making a video about it, because it's just pretty much gonna be this until this live situation can get straightened out. Okay. All right, I will talk to everybody tomorrow. Bye.